Hey friends, it has been a minute. If you are new here, I'm Samantha. I'm a content producer, and I've taken the 12-week year, and it's time for the conclusion. If you are new to the 12-week year, the whole concept is based on a book of the same name, and the idea is to throw annualized or yearly goals out the window, same with quarterly goals, and to instead do in 12 weeks what you used to think you could do in 12 months. Did I say that right? Breaking it down even further, the idea is to basically take a 12-week period of time and go really hard on probably about 3 goals. You develop strategies, you measure them, you have a whole system in place so that you can really go hard and measure some goals and some things that you really want to achieve. And I'll just say overall, I actually loved this strategy. I love this plan. I love the planning aspect of it. I liked the weekly tactics. I liked seeing where I was, compared to where I started from. I learned a lot about how to set goals and the types of goals I should be setting, because I think we have just an idea of what a goal should be. And, it should be something, maybe impossible or something you really have to stretch to get. And I think that's cool. But at the time I started setting these goals last year, I was like, I have some things I need to do personally that I think will help me professionally. And stuff like, I want to, make my routines a little bit better. I want to get into a fitness routine. I want to get into a writing routine. And so those were some of the goals that I set. And halfway through, I realized that maybe they weren't the best goals for this particular thing. Or on the contrary, I realized that, my heart just wasn't in those goals. And I think that doing this plan or any kind of strategy where you are going hard on something and you realize the passion isn't there, or the time or whatever it is, and you need to kind of go back to the drawing board, you're gonna realize that pretty soon. So let's go over my goals and see how I did. Goal number 1 was to build up my YouTube account. So if you're watching this, thank you for being here. I'm still a very new creator. I started my channel last year, but I haven't really been posting super consistently. And so part of my tactics to build my YouTube account was really just to do a lot of research and learning. I have a lot of experience behind the camera, but not necessarily with being on camera, and also not with creating specific content and getting into the routine of editing and creating graphics and uploading and all of this SEO that goes along with, being an active YouTube account. It's a lot. And I'm so impressed with all of the creators that manage to do that, day in and day out. So I have 2 previous videos. I have one where I laid out my original goals, and I have another where I checked in at the 6-week mark. And if you've seen the one at the 6-week mark, I won't go into it too much, but I will say I kind of pivoted on some of my goals because I realized that they weren't very measurable or as measurable as I wanted them to be. And I tried to change that just a little bit. When it came to building up my YouTube account, the way I was planning to go about it was to, post at least twice a week in the long form actual videos, and then also upload probably 2 or 3 times to shorts. And additionally, I was taking a course of the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, which I'll link below. I've really enjoyed that. That really takes a deep dive into researching other accounts, trying to see what other people are doing. It's not necessarily, just cameras and lighting and all of that. It's a lot about content calendars and managing your time and things that I knew would be a big part, but kind of completely underestimated when I made that goal. Because look, your girl's still gotta work and bring in that income. Right now, this can only be a hobby for me. So I've got to figure out how to be a full-time YouTuber, but also being a full-time person. So that doesn't work, obviously. The math does not math. So it's going to be part-time, and my goals were kind of just a little wonky. That said, I feel like I've made a ton of progress here. I've been able to put out, a bunch of videos that I really like. In December, I took part in Vlogmas a little bit. I think the idea with Vlogmas is to post videos to your main feed every day for the month of December up until Christmas. And I think I ended up doing about 19 videos, but I ended up putting them on shorts, mainly just because I'm just not at that weekly upload level yet, and I really needed to see if it was something that I could do or wanted to do. And that experience was so great. If you haven't seen any of the Vlogmas, I will link below to the playlist, and eventually I think I'll make a video of it because it really challenged my creativity every day, and to just get into the routine of, editing and trying to make things as minimal as possible, and also just having like a running shot list just in your head of things you want to do or things that I wanted to do. The 6-week mark, I also set a goal of getting 50 subscribers. Now, did I make that? No. Honestly, I didn't expect to, but the fact that as of today I have 25 subscribers, what? Thank you so much. That is a ton, because I know that to be consistent with YouTube, I need to upload a certain amount of videos per day, and I just kind of like need to be more in a routine of doing that. And until I get to that point, I really don't expect the subscriber count to increase. So the fact that I've been able to, make videos that are entertaining to you guys and hopefully informative, or that you appreciate or it resonates with you, is awesome. So I'm super excited about 25 subscribers, and thank you. And this is just the beginning. Goal number 2 was to organize my freelance finances. And I probably made a lot of headway here, maybe more so than the other goals, because it was things that I can do all the time. Print off receipts, build up a spreadsheet, expenses, what all subscriptions am I paying for? It's important to keep track of all of that. And I do, but it wasn't a great system. So I did set up a spreadsheet where I can see on my business accounts, what's coming through, what's being charged every month, and also in my email, having certain emails go to certain folders so that I'm aware each time I get charged with something, what it is, if I'm using it, and if it's truly beneficial to my business. Do I want to give it more time? What do I need to invest in? There are so many things that impact your business that relate to the finances. I really didn't want to be the type of person who doesn't know what's going on in their business. Are you making money or are you not? I ended up with this big binder because a lot of it has to be printed off anyway, just for records, but I was able to get a lot of things organized, and it helped me, just keep track of all of my clients. Additionally, basically have that same binder, but just digitally. I've been using Notion a lot, and I also utilized HoneyBook. And truth be told, I have not used HoneyBook as much as I thought that I would, and that just comes down to the type of freelancer that I am and the type of clients that I have. And I'm not always sending invoices in my own system to clients. Sometimes I have to be in their system and submit like timesheets and things like that. Like every company kind of has a different way of how they work, and the majority of my clients just kind of work that way. So I wasn't really in a position where I was sending out a ton of invoices. That said, I'm giving myself a 6-month kind of probation period on HoneyBook just to see if I can utilize it better for my business. When I switched from QuickBooks to HoneyBooks, I feel like there was a lot more there. And I do like that I can go in and place a lot of client information and kind of have a running client hub where I can see the business that we've done in the past. I can send them things through that. It looks professional, and I wouldn't mind sending that out. It's just a matter of, is it something that I'm going to be using on a regular basis that kind of justifies the cost? Because otherwise I can probably just create something in, Illustrator or Microsoft Word and send it out, and it would be just fine because it's sort of like a one-off thing. So we'll see how the next 6 months goes. Ultimately, getting my finances together made me feel a lot more empowered with my business and how comfortable I was with the income coming in and the amount of work I was doing. I think it's really easy, even for those of us who have experienced burnout before, to kind of get back into that rat race of thinking like, oh, I'm doing pretty well, I'm comfortable with this client, I can take on another client, or I can do this or that. And you end up kind of stuffing your days a little. And I want to be really intentional as I'm setting up my freelance business, even 5 years in. I just want to be intentional and conscious of my own time so that I don't end up, being super crazy and trying to reach, some goals that I don't really have. You kind of always want to be doing well. You kind of always want to be getting clients, but I just want to do cool work with cool people and make enough money to fund the life that I am trying to create for myself. And I don't have to be working 24 hours a day to do that. And managing my finances and getting that together and having a good idea of how to invest that and all of that, it made me feel better about where I was and how much I am working. Goal number three was a lot of fun. It was to build up a fitness routine. And I don't know if I would say I'm a gym girly. I'm not really, but I used to run when I was in my teens, when I was in my 20s. I ran a lot. I miss that to an extent, but running, there's all kind of injuries. I wasn't cross-training correctly, and it also just takes a lot of time. It has plenty of weird pros and cons that you can make. And so I have been going off and on to gyms for years. But again, I would just kind of go to the gym and, run on the treadmill. I might lift some weights, but I just really felt intimidated just both by being a woman and also just not really knowing what to do or being confident that even what I was doing was helpful in the long run, overall. I ended up joining Orangetheory, and for me, I never really thought that I would be someone who likes a fitness class. That is not for me. However, it turns out that is for me. I have so benefited from having a class at a certain time and getting to the point where I could go to it regularly and get a combination of cardio workout and strength workout, and for it to be an hour and for me to feel like I'm not necessarily getting injured. I do feel like I'm getting stronger. Over the course of working on this goal, I ended up losing 20 pounds just because I went from kind of going irregularly to the classes to going, every weekday, really trying every weekday. Additionally, I started intermittent fasting, which I know can be controversial, but if you're unfamiliar with intermittent fasting, it's basically where you fast or you do not eat or drink except for water for a certain period of time, and then you do eat for a certain period of time. So I did the 16 hours on, 8 hours off, and I really found that that worked well for me, sometimes especially in the early morning when I would just feel like ravenous. My appetite kind of started to go away a little bit in the morning so that I could just enjoy, a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and I wasn't just like so hungry, and I could kind of more easily make my way through the workday instead of just like snacking on things. But it was really nice. Yeah, overall, I was using the Fastic app to work with intermittent fasting. I was also working with an app called Intent, and that helped me get into the process of meal planning. It essentially would give you options about how to plan your week, and then food-wise, in terms of like, you could do breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. I think mostly I was just like, I need to figure out what to do for dinner, and get to a place where I wasn't just like going to the grocery store, multiple times a week for whatever we were out of. And that was really incredible. This video isn't sponsored by either one of those, but I felt like sometimes you need a little help to get you into the routine of things. So will I have to use Fastic forever? Probably not. Will I use Intent forever? Probably not. However, it did a ton of work in just getting me into the routine of making plans, making weekly meal plans, going grocery shopping with intention, and only getting the things that I need, and making sure I'm not loading up with a bunch of snacks. So I'm super happy with how the fitness goal worked out. It definitely felt like I was going hard for 12 weeks. Yeah, that one hurt. Muscles hurt. My fourth goal was probably the most enlightening. My fourth goal was to create a writing portfolio. When I first started the 12 weeks, I really wanted to achieve this goal, which is why it's on here. And as I got into the goal, it was the one that surprised me the most, in that I realized my heart wasn't really in creating a writing portfolio. I'm a copywriter, and so I do a lot of writing day in, day out. I always have, and I really do want to make more of an impact on that and have more bylines and, you know, things like that that kind of go into the industry that I'm in a little bit more, or give me a little more creative freedom from the things that I do for work. However, this goal was cursed in two ways. The first way, it was kind of wonky, is that when you're doing the 12-week year, they really emphasize only focusing on a few goals, like 3, literally 3, because you're really going hard on those goals. So you're not going to have, time for another goal. You're going to have time for your life. And if you have extra time, then you put your energy into those goals, and you don't try and spread it out over, 5, 6, 7 goals. And I found that even a 4th goal was too much. By the time I was, doing the writing for YouTube, and I was doing the shooting for goal number 1, and I was going to the fitness classes for goal number 3, and I was working on my finances for goal number 2, I really didn't have the energy, the creative capacity to go hard again on a 4th goal. It just wasn't working, and that's okay. I think that is one of the things within this process that really kind of helps you prioritize and realize what is truly important to you and what you really want to go hard on. When you're starting to see that progress from your other goals, it's just like, that kind of moment, which is great. And, it's easy to put things on the back burner that may be hard and all of that. I really didn't feel like I was putting it on the back burner because it was hard. I felt like I was putting it on the back burner just because I did not prioritize it enough. It just wasn't something I realized I wanted to go hard on. And, will I pick it back up in the future? I definitely may, but having some clarity on where that stands with everything else I'm trying to do was surprisingly helpful. And it was nice to be able to be like, you know what? I don't have time for this right now. I was already realizing that, probably like week 2 and 3. And when I came back at the 6-week mark, I changed the goal a little bit to say, I'm going to write for 1 hour a day, and it's going to be, 500 words at least per session. And I did that again for like another week, and I really enjoyed what I was able to come up with. Being able to work on scripts for YouTube and consider that writing was helpful. Writing some blog posts was helpful. It was helpful. But again, all of that was really kind of serving the other goals and my work, and not specifically just going hard on that goal to actually get things published. So, there's a lot of realizations that you may encounter when doing the 12-week plan, which is why I think I enjoyed it so much, is because I think it's just super easy for all of us to get overwhelmed by everything that's going on in our own lives. I am certainly probably number 1 for that. I'm also just like type A, Enneagram 1, like I'm a Leo, all the things that make my to-do list pretty long, extraordinary, confusing, and hectic. And so I'm always looking for ways to be more efficient at it, be more productive when I am working, but not like completely lose my mind because I'm trying to do everything. That's definitely something that I am working on for me. So what are you going to take away from this? Well, first of all, I think you should definitely try it. Definitely try it. We're talking 12 weeks, 3 months, 90 days. Ultimately, it's not that long to really kind of get some things in order, get some clarity about what's going on in your life or your business. There's no area specifically where you have to set these goals. They don't have to relate to one another. They can be about, cleaning your house, which some of mine next time probably needs to be. You know, or they can be all business or they can be all personal. That I'm not making the rules. Another thing I would encourage is to read the book. I confess, I did not read the book all the way through when I first started. I thought I didn't have to, and from someone who loves to read, I feel like such a dummy for saying that, but I thought I got the gist of what the 12-week year was about. And if you're watching this video and you've seen other creators do the 12-week year, you may also think you have the gist. None of the videos I've seen have been as compelling as the book was in terms of helping me to figure out what goals I should set, how I should measure them, and trying to figure out what the process for me should actually look like. I realized much later how important the planning process is, and that's why before I start again, I am spending a lot of time planning and trying to nail down what my goals are going to be, nail down what my tactics are going to be, and figuring out a better way for me to check in week to week so I don't get to a point where I feel behind or like at the 6-week mark like I need to pivot. That is something they literally point out in the book as something that people do, and that happens. And so as I'm going through and I'm just kind of taking in the chapters, it's not hard to read and you don't have to rush through it. I think it's just really enlightening, especially if you are going to put these into action and you actually want to make progress on these goals. Definitely encourage it. The other thing I really encourage is to start with a template. I started with a template of sorts. It had like a drop-down menu, and each week I kind of put in my goals and some tactics that I was going to use that week to get to it, but I didn't really have a way that I was measuring that necessarily other than a checkbox. And for you, that might work. However, the more creators I have seen, the more free templates I have seen that they are graciously giving away, and I'll link to a couple of my favorites that make the experience of tracking these goals much better. It makes you want to go back to wherever you are and look at it and see, like, what can I do to improve? Can I get better at this? How, I've got 12 weeks to go hard on this goal. Can I smash it out of the park? If that's something you can do, or how am I doing? And I kind of love analyzing any of my work and just being able to see how impactful it was, how effective it was. And so most of these templates are in Notion. Notion is a free kind of like database creator. I think it can be a little overwhelming when you start, which is why I suggest the free templates that are basically already put together for you. And all you have to do is make a Notion account and start inputting your own goals. I think this next 12-week session, I'm going to use a combination of 2 templates from creators that I think are putting out really cool work. One is from Hello Corey. It's a little bit more colorful, and I think that will make it seem more of a home for me, more of a place that I'm going to want to, jump back into and put some stuff down and log into every day and see how things are going. And Orangetheory is a little bit more analytical when it comes to how I'm actually going to measure some things. Even looking at these, I know how the process of going after these goals was previously, so I think anything that I want to add, and there will be some other things to make the tactics more front and center, will be especially helpful to me. So overall, I hope that you have enjoyed this recap of my experience with 12-week year. I feel like I'll definitely be doing it again and updating here. If you've done the 12-week year, I'd love to know if it was successful for you or if you failed on any goals like I did, and what you're trying to do to get back into it. Or if you're like, there's better things out there. I hear that. I'm about it. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment if you wanna. And I will see you in the next video.